Welcome to another episode of Behind the Business, presented by Gore Mutual. Today's episode is also sponsored by BDC as we celebrate BDC Small Business Week. I'm your host, Ian McLean, President and CEO of the Greater Kitchener-Waterloo Chamber of Commerce. This podcast is recorded on the traditional territory of the Neutral, Anishinaabe, and Haudenosaunee peoples. Each episode, I sit down for candid conversations where we go beyond the boardroom and behind the business to uncover the real stories within Waterloo Region's business community. Today's episode is sponsored by BDC, the Bank for Canadian Entrepreneurs, as we celebrate BDC Small Business Week from October 19th to 25th. Each day, we're spotlighting a different small business owner from our community, the people who power our local economy, create jobs, and bring innovation to life. We're also excited to have this year's theme focus on the economic revolution and getting your business ready. Today, we're sitting down with Dimitrios Tsirgielis of Silver Cross Kitchener, which started as a mission to improve accessibility, has grown into a business that helps people live comfortably and safely. Through Silver Cross Kitchener, Dimitrios is providing mobility solutions and personalized support that empower clients to maintain independence and quality of life. In this episode, we'll uncover how he built a thriving business around service, adaptability, and trust. Join me as we go behind the business with Dimitrios Tsirgielis. Well, listen, thanks so much for joining us today. For small business and entrepreneurs, time is probably, of all the precious commodities, that's probably the most precious one. So thank you for spending some of your valuable time with us today. Listen, let's start at the beginning. So in this series we're doing as part of BDC Small Business Week, trying to hear the stories of entrepreneurs and business owners. So start at the beginning. Tell us a bit about yourself and your business and how it came to be.
So my name is Dimitri. I started off in food and beverage. I was doing fine dining for private golf courses, for the racetrack in Toronto. So service-based business. While in university, I moved to a retirement community as a waiter, and then after my university career, and I graduated, I moved into a sales role, which I was horrible at, but we maintained, and it gave me good exposure to the industry, connected me with a lot of other people on the equipment side. Transitioned to becoming a manager of one of the local healthcare retail stores, which got me exposure to medical equipment sales in a retail setting, before moving on to two other companies. Once you're in medical equipment, the whole world opens up in terms of businesses that sell and service that community. And it got me access to two different companies. One of my clients at one of those companies was selling his business. It was during the pandemic. I made him an offer. He accepted. And I've been running this business for the last almost 5 years now.
Wow. So as you think back in the early days, so I mean, you were in the business, but you bought out the business. When you were getting started, what was the biggest learning curve of, because you'd been in the business, you'd done sales, you'd done some of those things, but what was the learning curve of actually owning that business that surprised you in running your new venture?
Good question. There is a lot of overlap when you're on the corporate side of retail, medical retail. You do have to wear multiple hats. So you are managing your staff, you're dealing with inventory, you're dealing with sales in the front. So you do have to wear multiple hats. When you own your own business, there's a different level of attention to detail and stress, of course, that goes along with that. Reading the fine print, really making sure to trust the professionals that work around you, and really delegating and trusting your staff. I think that's a big one that I've really learned to leverage. You can't really scale and grow without having good people around you that you can trust and delegate to. And also, when you're speaking to your accountant, delving into the numbers, cash flow is everything. Learning to manage your numbers and also strategize for growth. These are all things that I love to learn about, but that I really had to hone when I was managing my own business and I didn't have a corporate entity. Basically delegating, this is how you're going to strategize.
So it's a good dovetail to my next question. You as a small business owner, you wear lots of hats. You talked about, in the corporate world versus, or working for a corporate entity versus running it for yourself. But you wear lots of hats, in the hiring, the firing, the taxes, the HR, the business development. You're responsible for it all. What did that teach you about yourself as a leader, recognizing you got to do all those things because it's your business? Um, what did it teach you about yourself as a leader, or entrepreneur through the process?
So as an entrepreneur, um, being adaptable, being resilient are really two important qualities.
Mm-hmm.
Things can come out of nowhere and change on the fly, and I learned that I'm really good at adapting to changes, and being resilient in the face of any challenges. So that's one thing I learned about myself. As a leader, it's really important to lead with empathy and compassion. Um, your employees are your team, are your
Yeah.
family, and being able to support them through their challenges. And I think that's a really good definition of leadership. Um, these are the two things that I've.
Mm. Okay, let's talk about your relationship with BDC, because what we know is that we have all kinds of professionals that to support us in as business owners. But you've developed a relationship with BDC. Talk about how that started, because you got your accountant and you got your traditional bank, but BDC has a very unique way that it works, particularly with entrepreneurs and smaller business, because it's got a different risk profile. So tell us how the relationship with BDC started for you, and how they've been able to support you in the as an entrepreneur, and help the venture grow.
Sure. So when I was looking to purchase this business, and looking for support, BDC was something that I did do some research online. That the fact that they also help support entrepreneurs wanting to get into being their own business
Yeah.
owner. So going through that interview process, their risk profile is a little bit different. They were able to support me in this venture by understanding, of course, that the business that I was purchasing had strong numbers, and that I also knew what I was talking about and how I understood the business. And of course, it panned out, and it's been, I believe, quite successful since. But they helped me purchase the business.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in any other situation with a bank, I probably wouldn't have gotten the same level of support.
And they do some unique things, BDC, like, so buying bricks and mortar. Banks there's different ratios and what they're prepared to use the financials of the business to help you buy. So they do have a unique risk profile, and that's their business. That's what they are mandated to do, is help in this, I would say, in between market of what traditional banks are not able to do, and they have reasons for that. But BDC has a different suite, along with their advisory services. Have you taken those are other opportunities that with their experts and advisors?
So jumping into the business, you could say that I was drinking from a fire hose. There's a lot going on at the
Yeah.
same time. Being able to expand on my relationship with BDC has been extremely important. Eventually taking a part of those advisory services, but also expanding my relationship with them in the acquisition of a brick and mortar location, and of course their mentorship. It's been invaluable.
Yeah. Okay. So this week's or let me go. Entrepreneurs don't succeed alone. We talked about the relationship with BDC, and that's an important one. But are there other partnerships or business colleagues, mentors, or other financial partners that have helped you succeed to get where you are today?
It's a variety of different. So on the partnership side, our medical equipment companies that we purchase products from are really strong community partners.
Yeah.
I need to be able to rely on the equipment that I sell and be able to transfer that reliance to the client. I want them to have confidence in the product that they're selling. Um, and also, if there happens to be an issue with that piece of equipment, that there is strong after sales service.
Mhm.
So having a good partnership with our vendors is extremely important to us. Um, Mentorship, I think there's different types of mentors depending on which stage you're in. Is it in communicating with your employees and that human aspect? Is it strategy when
Hmm.
it comes to growing the business? Is it financial? Um, and being able to have different mentors for different reasons is valuable. And also, as you scale and grow your business, the mentors that you have will also, adapt and change. The Chamber of Commerce has great access
Mm.
um, to increase your network to be able to have these mentors, and they have a lot of other programs. So that's also been extremely valuable for me.
Now, I mean, sometimes we have our paid advisors or trusted advisors. So probably have a law firm that you deal with. You have an accounting firm. You've got maybe your traditional bank, but now you've got BDC. Sometimes those mentors are just people like, again, maybe you've met through the Chamber of Commerce or a friend or colleague who's an expert, and you pick their brains. Is that? I mean, having that is really important as you're, because you're an expert in the business that you're in from a technical perspective, but running the business is a different matter. And there's things that you talked about change all the time. Is having those informal mentors as well as the formal ones is an important part of your success?
Absolutely. Not everybody has to be a professional with a professional designation. Sometimes maybe it's a friend who has really good emotional intelligence
Mm-hmm.
and who you can banter an idea off of or a thought that you had. So I think it's invaluable to have a wide range of mentors. Um,
Canada's economy is changing fast. An economic revolution is underway, and your business is at the heart of it. AI is transforming the way we work. Global trade is shifting. Interprovincial barriers are falling. Thousands of businesses are about to change hands, and new investments are taking shape. This isn't a small shift. It's a real economic revolution. Business as usual? That's no longer an option. The future belongs to those who dare, who innovate, who make productivity a priority, who get ready for what's next and take action now. This Small Business Week, we celebrate the entrepreneurs writing the next chapter. You're not following change, you're leading it. Get inspired, network, and go for it. The economic revolution is here. Is your business ready?
So leads us to BDC's the theme for this year's BDC Small Business Week, and I like this because it fits the context of what's happening globally. The economic revolution is here. Get your business ready, and I think that's very timely with everything that's happening with global trade and the disruption or in the global context. It is timely because Canada's business landscape is shifting fast. So have you made a chance, or is there a change that you've already made or are planning to make to make your business more resilient or to adapt to those changes? So technology is one that probably everyone is looking at how they use technology, but is it a new technology, a different process, or a different business model that you're doing to try and make yourself resilient in the face of the change that's here?
so medical equipment sales and the aging population has been on a steady incline.
Mm-hmm.
Um, our business is very unique in that um, this whole AI revolution. I'm not sure how much it really applies to our business. We're very much in the face. We're in people's homes on a
Mm-hmm.
daily basis, assessing their needs, making recommendations on equipment. Um, what I can do and what I think is really important is to be able to give my staff the tools to be able to streamline the process for the client, whether it's workflow solutions, so improving the
Mm-hmm.
technology that we have in our location, um, utilizing software to help visualize a piece of equipment in the client's home,
So is that like VR, virtual reality?
augmented reality.
Yeah.
So we have vendors that can help visualize that stair lift
Mm-hmm.
on a staircase. So when they're spending a good portion of money to purchase a stair lift, at least they can visualize it ahead of time, which helps them make the decision. Because these are large pieces of equipment and they are large investments in your home. Um, uh, being able to utilize technology when it comes to social media and social media posts so that the clients can visualize the type of products that they'll be purchasing, or at least what's out there. There's a lot
Mhm.
of really innovative products that are coming to market on a daily basis. So being able to communicate that in some capacity to not only clients but healthcare professionals, I think is extremely valuable. Um, in terms of how our business is structured, it is still very analog. We are
Mhm.
still very in front of clients. So utilizing just the basic technologies to help with workflow solutions, I think is
So you got the front facing, which is more of a people like tangible. You gotta it's tactile. People want to know how it's going to fit or see, and then there's maybe more where that technology enhancements are on the back end. Where you can save time on some of those back end
and
things.
communication as
Hmm.
well. Communication is everything. It's difficult to make a large investment in your home if you can't visualize the product. Um, so
Yeah. Okay. So many small businesses will be watching and listening to this podcast. What advice would you give to other entrepreneurs looking to start or scale their business in our community?
um, my focus has been to focus on the client.
Hmm.
Jeff Bezos has a really interesting quote: "Is be customer obsessed." I think if you focus on the client first, finding a solution to an issue, and providing good customer service, that scale will come. That growth will come through word of mouth and through really positive customer service interaction. And that has been my focus, and that's what I would recommend. Different entrepreneurs to focus on. What's your solution, and how are you providing the best customer service to that client to help provide clear communication and a value add for the money that they're spending.
Yeah, I mean that's age old, but it sometimes get lost in saying we can tech our way out of or into growth. It's still people trusting people and good customer service is the best calling card. I totally agree with that. Okay, well, looking ahead, you've started the business, you bought the business, you've grown the business, but what's next for you, and what's on the horizon for the business if you look over the next 6, 12, 18 months?
um, as I've grown the business, so ever since I've acquired this business, we've grown. We've added another 4 staff, so we're
Hmm.
currently at 9 employees. Um, we have um, really changed how I feel how this business is operating, focusing on community, focusing on clients. I think it's really important to maintain that course and to be able to continue to provide solutions for people in their homes and clear communication. In terms of what's next, I feel like since I bought this business back in 2021, it was like we were an adolescent that grew up really fast. So we're still kind of lanky, and I think it's important to bulk up
Yeah.
essentially. So I think it's doubling down on the education for our community and our employees, making sure that we're investing
Hmm.
in our employees and our business. Um, there's a lot of healthcare professionals out there that also need support. So finding supports and resources for them to be able to service clients in the community, um, and really investing in technology to help streamline our workflow so we can provide fast and more efficient service to clients. So I think it's getting a little bit more dense. Yeah.
It's growing into the skin and bones and putting more meat. That's a stage in every business when if you've had fast growth, you got to make sure it's sustainable and that you're sturdy enough to support it. Okay, well, as we wrap up again, thank you for spending some time with us today. Part of this podcast is not only the story around you as an entrepreneur in your business, but it's also a little bit about how leaders lead. And so I always like to end the episode or the each episode with a few rapid fire questions. Everyone gets asked the same questions, but I wanted to get a sense of how leaders lead, and that's what we do in this section. So if you could go back and tell a younger version of yourself something, what would you tell yourself?
Buy NVIDIA. I think that would be a good investment. Um, uh, I think we don't learn enough about financial independence and how to manage our finances at a young age. I'm not sure if it's as taught in schools as details as it should
Mm-hmm.
be. So I would want to learn as much as possible about how to manage my money better, so that I can invest in my future. I would also tell myself to start earlier. I think there's a lot of hesitancy when you're young. You don't necessarily know what you want to do. You have ideas about what you may want to do. Is to start if you have a vision, if you have an idea of what you
Try.
just try it,
Yeah.
because you'll learn so much about yourself. And in your 20s is where you really want to adapt and fail.
Yeah, that's good advice. Who or what inspires you as you think back on your journey?
I have really good parents. My dad was also in food and beverage, ended up adapting and moving into entrepreneurship, and he had his own business and to help support our family. My mom also got a master's later in life as well, continually educating herself. So I would say my parents have a really
Mhm.
strong impact on me in terms of the need for education, to advance yourself and your knowledge and your career, as well as hard work and resilience in entrepreneurship.
Those are great lessons. If you weren't in your current career, so if you weren't doing what you're doing now, what do you think you'd be doing instead?
I'd probably be in food and beverage and fine dining. I was really good at it. Um, that was the career that I was taking, being able to manage a fine dining establishment or a restaurant, um, uh, event venue, something along those lines is something that I'd probably be doing. But who knows?
Well, there's still time for you to go back to that, but fine dining and the restaurant business is a that's a tough one. It's a very fickle thing. I think you're into a business where we all know we're going to get older and we're all going to need those things. So maybe a wise choice, at least in the short term.
It's a service business. It's very similar in terms of the type
Yeah.
of business, right? We are providing a service to an individual. Um, we care about them. We want them to have a good experience and a positive experience. And I think it goes both ways.
Yeah. Okay. Are you reading a book now, or are you listening to a podcast, or what are you doing to kind of keep yourself either stimulated or destimulated, depending on what you need?
So I am reading a book. I do listen to podcasts. Right now, I'm reading a book called Blue Ocean Strategy. It's a book about how you can see your business in a different light to open up a new ocean that hasn't been tapped
Mhm.
yet. How can you provide a different version of your business that nobody else has thought of? It's a really interesting book. In terms of podcasts, I like business podcasts. I like comedy podcasts. On the business side, I'm listening to Acquired. It's these two finance guys who do a deep dive into a business from start to finish. And the All In podcast. It's a bunch of business owners talking about politics and the economy, and it's
Well,
interesting.
I think I'll have to listen to that one. That's more or less what we do
It is.
on our radio show too. Um, what's your favorite business or restaurant, or what's your go-to here in Waterloo region or in Southwestern Ontario?
I would say I have two. In terms of restaurant, I love the Mediterranean restaurant. I am Greek. I do love Greek food. Mediterranean is right down the street from where my business currently is, so I think they do a phenomenal job at providing good service and good food. I recently connected in the last year or so, and we participated in their whiskey and wine event. But the Food Bank of Waterloo is a remarkable business. The level of support that they have for the community, how they've connected with multiple businesses to expand their operations, I think they're doing a remarkable job.
Absolutely. And where's the best place for someone that's listening, wants to maybe connect with you or learn more about your business?
You can find us online. You can Google us at Silver Cross Kitchener. We are a franchise, so we have a website, www.silvercross.com, and you can find our franchise in that profile, and our number is there as well. Or calling us directly and connecting with myself. I'd be happy to help.
Listen, as I said at the beginning, it's a busy time. We were talking before we went on. It's a busy time. The fall is always busy for everyone. It's like school starts, everything is back up and running, and so time is valuable. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today, and for sharing your story with other businesses and individuals across the community as we celebrate Small Business Week.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Behind the Business, proudly presented by Gore Mutual. Thanks again to BDC for this special Small Business Week episode. We're celebrating all week and dropping a new episode each day. You can also visit greaterkwchamber.com to catch up on past episodes anytime. We'll see you next time as we continue to go Behind the Business.